confident and more head shaking than ever.
You know, I got broke in the right way, and it was in 1984 when I was on the team. And we came back to Tiger Stadium. And this was the weekend where Jack Morris threw the first no-hitter of the season. And then having a chance to be on that third base foul line, having a chance to hear the applause that he got when he was announced is unbelievable. And every single one here in Detroit continues to amaze me.
All right, the only downer so far this season is that the Tigers lost 2 of 3 to the Twins in Minnesota. The bullpen continues to be an issue. We just talked with Ken Rosenthal about perhaps a closer coming down the pike again. But what we see from the bullpen at Target Field?
Well, the bullpen has to get straightened out. There's no debate about that. And there's no better luxury than having that guy at the back end of the bullpen as they had last year in Valverde. In 118 save chances, he only blew 8 saves in the 3 years he was here. That's a remarkable rate of success. Then you have everybody else. You have Dotel, you have Coke, you have Benoit, you have Villarreal, you have Albuquerque. All these guys get a chance to slot themselves where they should be. Of course, Smiley's down there as well. He's the long guy, but Jim Leland does not like the bullpen by committee. Jeff Jones told me today he does not like the bullpen by committee. So expect Jose Valverde to go to Lakeland, then go to Toledo, and he will find himself back to Detroit by May. I'm predicting he will be back before May 1st. So they really have to get that sorted out. That's one thing that I took out of Minnesota watching the club.
Yeah, they've got plenty of arms. It's the slotting process that we have yet to see. And for all the attention given to the arrival of Torrey Hunter and the return of Victor Martinez, Mario, you believe the leadoff guy still is the one cog that the Tigers have that some other teams might not?
Yeah, I think it's important, John. I mean, when you look at what the Tigers were able to do in the series against Minnesota, yes, they offensively were a little bit challenged, but I saw a little bit more of a dynamic element to the Tigers starting lineup, and it always starts at the top for me. Austin Jackson was on base 7 times in this series. Yesterday, he singled to start the game, stole a base, and scored on a ground out by Torrey Hunter. So we pay a lot of attention to the guys in the middle of the lineup, but this is what Jackson brings you. He brings you some excitement. This is a play early on in the game that eventually he got the third on in the throwing error by Joe Mauer and then scores on a ground ball by Torrey Hunter. You need table setters for guys like Cabrera to drive in, guys like Fielder, and guys like Victor Martinez. And it all starts, to me, with Austin Jackson and Torrey Hunter at the top. These guys make the lineup a little bit more dynamic this year, and it was fun for me to watch, and hopefully will be this season.
All right. Do we have security for Mr. Impemba and Mr. Allen?
You're going to need it.
No, they're happy to sign autographs on their way to the booth.
How about the bow tie?
The bow tie. The bow tie looks like $1 million. All right, guys, thanks. Have a great game today.
All right, Keats.
All right, there they are. They're headed up to the booth, and they'll have the Tigers and the Yanks coming up at 1 o'clock. Time now for the Just For Men Auto Stop foolproof stat. And Triple Crown winning Miguel Cabrera may be happy to see the Yanks in town. In 40 career games versus Yankee pitching, Cabby has hit safely 36 times with 37 RBIs in that span and a lusty 356 batting average. He was among those delighted to see the Tigers not stand pat after last season. Pat stinks. There was the mutual love fest between the team and Torrey Hunter, and a deal was quickly struck. And the Tigers recall their initial thoughts about that notable signing when we come back. Played a full home season of games here. It's his first game in Detroit since he joined the team. 81 games as a visitor over the years, and another 6 games before that at Old Tiger Stadium. In fact, among ball players in the ballpark today, only Torrey Hunter and Mariano Rivera have shared experience at the corner. It's largely Hunter's personality that made it so, but Torrey is fitting into the Tigers clubhouse almost seamlessly. His teammates with equal measures of surprise and delight that he's now a teammate.
I was playing with the ball, and I say, man, my teammates say, man, where you guys won? You already guys have like a dream team, so now you guys have Victor Martinez back and you got Torrey Hunter. So I said, man, I'm happy. Another player around, so I'll be happy.
We talk a lot. Last year, you know, when we faced Anaheim, we talk in second base, and, you know, as one of the guys that I want to be close to him, and now he's here in Detroit, and, you know, it's funny because he said to me last year that he want to play for Detroit, and, you know, now he's here, so it's good to have him.
I don't get tired to see Torrey Hunter play. You know, now I'm glad that he's in our side. You know, he won't be chasing any of my balls. But he's gonna be a huge part, though. You know, I'm really, really happy that we got Torrey Hunter on our team.
There is Torrey Hunter's Dallas neighbor, Craig Monroe, sporting the latest in fashion eyewear.
Well, Keith, it's opening day. It was a celebration. So I figured what better way than get in the Tiger spirit opening day and put the glasses on. You gotta love it.
We're going to have to tell the folks behind us that they will never have those glasses back again.
No,
Those are going
back
home with Craig Monroe.
Those look good, right?
All right. We've got more ahead.
Right?
Coming up, the player introductions here at Comerica Park and a special recognition of Tigers owner Mike Ilitch. Quick work of the A's and Yankees to the Tigers making the postseason. A banner will be raised here at the ballpark as Tigers Live rolls on.
The Detroit Tigers won their second American League crown in the past 7 seasons and the 11th in club history. And for the first time since 1934 and 1935, the Tigers qualified for postseason play in consecutive seasons. And now, to commemorate this league championship, please turn your attention to home plate as All-Stars Prince Fielder, Justin Verlander, and the 2012 American League Most Valuable Player Miguel Cabrera unveiled the league championship flag that will fly throughout the 2013 season. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this flag will be raised on the center field flagpole directly above the Chevrolet fountain in center field. The Detroit Tigers thank all of our fans for your incredible support during the 2012 season. We say thank you to all of you. And now, on behalf of all of Detroit Tigers players, coaches, and front office staff, we ask that you join us in congratulating our owner, Michael Ilitch, in reaching the milestone of owning the Detroit Tigers for 20 years. Over the course of his ownership, Comerica Park opened in 2000. The Tigers have reached 2 World Series, hosted the 2005 All-Star Game, and have become a consistently competitive Major League Baseball team due to the honest, heartfelt, and steady leadership from Mr. Ilitch. Please join us now in recognizing and saluting Mr. Ilitch as he begins his 21st season as owner of the Detroit Tigers. Thank you, Detroit.
You can make the case that in some towns, athletes who make a very nice living realize they can take their talents to the next town and life will go on. But it's recognized by those who play in Mike Ilitch's town that playing here is special. The Tigers will talk of that next.
Well, you got to get your team ready. You got to make your lineup. You got to, make sure your bullpen's in order for opening day, what you want to do. We're playing the Yankees at home opening day, which will be a rematch of last year's championship series. So, it's worked for me, but it's a great day because it's a happening for Tiger fans.
The skipper, it's not just a guess. Will threaten a record or two today. More than 45,000 will shoehorn their way into Comerica Park. And what's even more startling is the number of folks who will make their way downtown without a ticket, just to be a part of some of the revelry and perhaps, just perhaps, have a beverage of 2 along the way. And the fact that it's on a Friday, it's as if Bud Selig and the heavens conjoined. And if they thought it wasn't already the case, Bud Selig believes that he controls the heavens. The focus on this town is centered around this team, and this team knows it.
The beauty about it is not even so much always the people who, get to go to the games. It's again, people who don't really go watch baseball, but just know the team and, just love the fact that we're, in their city and playing good baseball and people are recognizing us. I think, it gives Detroit, makes Detroit look good whenever, especially our team, all the good guys we have and, when everybody's playing well and we're doing great. I mean, it just feels good to, have people who don't really watch baseball appreciate that.
It's not every day you have have a team that not only you're proud of when you're on it, it's another thing to have the people that come and support the team so emphatically like the fans in Detroit do, and Michigan as a whole. And then, I mean, I know that this might be crossing the lines, but I'm sure there's a couple fans in Ohio that are Tigers fans too. I mean, and the surrounding area, like, it's definitely seeming like the fan base is expanding.
It's great to see that, you know, people notice that this team is no longer where it used to be, that that they can be proud of, you know, what's on the field, and know that we're going to play hard every single day, and really add to the history that this team has already, you know, built over the last 100 years. It's you know, it's a great history, and you know, to be able to continue that in a positive manner is pretty spectacular. And you know, they show up and they show their appreciation, which is one of the reasons why people want to play in Detroit now.
This place will be filled on a regular basis again this season. The Tigers are a hot ticket, but game one is always special. Some opening day memories are shared with you as we lead you toward the Tigers and the Yanks on a festive Friday downtown. Today via Twitter, and Kurt Schwartz shared meeting Ernie Harwell, the great Ernie Harwell, in center field with my daughter on my shoulders for the American League's 100-year ceremony way back in 2001. And Meredith Tomich told us, I was 10. First opening day was 2006. She went with her brother and dad, got a ball during batting practice, and kept score. And all of the people in attendance here on a perfect April Friday afternoon will sort of file those memories into the metal hard drive. Opening day 2013, Tigers and Yankees upcoming. We're almost to the point where we're going to introduce you to the 2013 Detroit Tigers. But for those guys who are on the field who can't wait to get going, goosebumps?
There's definitely going to be some goosebumps. If I can think back, which is a little while ago, but 2004, my first year coming out of spring training, getting the opportunity to make the team out of spring is such a big deal for players, and to embrace this day. And the most exciting thing was running out of the dugout and hearing 45,000 people go crazy for you, and to stand on that white line, that foul line, and see the guy, the big, to hear that sound, it just puts this emotion and goosebumps all over you. What an exciting day.
Yeah, we won't have the flyover. Federal budget cutbacks being what they are, but undaunted, we'll press on. I was in Minnesota. You were in the studio. We watched the first 3 games of the season, 2 of which went to the Minnesota Twins. How much do the Tigers? It's early. We get it's early. How much do they need a win, particularly in front of this crowd?
Well, when you talk to those guys, you know, being in the clubhouse today, talking with Boston and Torrey, these guys are confident. They know that they have the capability of getting where they want to go. That's one of the big reasons that Torrey Hunter signed to play here. He knew that this team was built to win the championship, and so I don't see them. I see them going out today, being calm and just playing some good, solid baseball.
Yeah, Tigers haven't lost an opening day at home since 2008. We're about to see baseball in this town for the first time in 158 days. You'll meet the Tigers of 2013 on the other side of a break. Summer. Now to the field, and let's meet the Tigers of 2013.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, get on your feet and welcome back home to Detroit, your 2013 Detroit Tigers. First, the trainers and clubhouse staff. Director, Medical Services and Head Athletic Trainer, Kevin Rand. Assistant Athletic Trainer, Steve Carter. Assistant Athletic Trainer, Doug Teeter. Clubhouse Manager, Jim Schmeichel. Assistant Clubhouse Manager, John Nelson. Clubhouse Assistant, Mark Kay. Video Operations Coordinator, Jeremy Kelch. Video Operations Assistant, Andy Bjornstad. Video Operations Assistant, Tim Janicki. Strength and conditioning coordinator, Javar Gillette. Out in the Tigers bullpen catcher, Scott Pickens. And in the Tigers bullpen catcher, Jeff Kunkel. And now, the Tiger coaches. Number 17, first base coach, Rafael Belliard. Number 61, third base coach, Tom Brookins. Number 87, assistant hitting coach, Toby Harris. In the Tigers bullpen, number 51, pitching coach, Jeff Jones. Number 22, bench coach, Gene Lamont. Number 8, hitting coach, Lloyd McClendon. In the Tigers bullpen, number 59, bullpen coach, Mike Rojas. And now the Tigers pitching staff. Number 62, Al Albuquerque. Number 53, Joaquin Benoit. Number 40, Phil Coe. Number 20, Octavio Dotel. Number 38, Darren Downs. Number 21, Rick Porcello. Number 19, Anibal Sanchez. Number 37, Max Scherzer. Number 33, Drew Smiley. Number 35, Justin Verlander. Number 60, Brian Villarreal. And now for the reserves. Catcher number 55, Brian Pena. Infielder number 39, Ramon Santiago. The reserve outfielders, number 32, Don Kelly. And number 18, Matt Tuiasosopo. And now, here's the Tigers starting lineup. First, Detroit's manager in his 8th season as the Tiger skipper. Number 10, Jim Leland. Leading off and playing center field, number 14, Austin Jackson. Batting second, playing right field, number 48, Torrey Hunter. Batting third, the third baseman, number 24, Miguel Cabrera. Batting fourth, the first baseman, number 28, Prince Fielder. Batting fifth, the designated hitter, number 41, Victor Martinez. Batting sixth, the left fielder, number 12, Andy Dirks. Batting seventh, the shortstop, number 27, Johnny Peralta. Batting 8th, the catcher out in the bullpen, number 13, Alex Avila. Batting 9th, the second baseman, number 4, Omar Infante. And starting on the mound this afternoon for your Tigers, warming up out in the bullpen, number 58, Doug Fister. At this time, your Detroit Tigers would like to recognize all current military, veterans, and their family.
Welcome to Comerica Park. The Yankees are in town to take on your Tigers. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba, Rod Allen. We are glad to have you with us here today. We are glad to be home. There's a buzz in the air. There's no question about that. A roar in the air here at the ballpark, Rod. The Yankees are in town. It's opening day in Detroit.
Nothing like opening day in Detroit. It is an absolute party. If you get downtown at about 8:30, 9 o'clock, people are tailgating. People are having their favorite beverages, whether it be coffee or you know what else they could be drinking. But the people are just having a blast down here. This crowd, we were just commenting a second ago, it's just a buzz in this place. This place is roaring.
It's going to be fun today. We're glad to have you with us. Coming up, it'll be the 113th home opener for the Detroit Tigers in their history. The American League Championship banner was unfurled today. Tigers are ready. You are as well. We'll be back. Yanks and Tigers on Fox Sports Detroit.
From the first pitch in downtown Detroit. Hi again, everybody. I'm Mickey York. The Tigers, of course, would like to pick up where they left off against the Yankees in their ALCS with another win today. And a good way to do it would be to start hitting the long ball.
All opening day style from Comerica Park. The New York Yankees are in town. Doug Fister is on the hill, and we are just about ready for baseball here this afternoon. The Yankees at 1-2 on the brand new season. Likewise for the Tigers. And Brett Gardner will start things off for New York. Fister ready to go, and so are we. The first pitch of the ball game today is a strike called on Brett Gardner. Happy to have you with us on a glorious afternoon here in the Motor City. Game time temperature 45 degrees, nothing but sunshine as well. Gardner is 3 out of 12 to start the new season for the Yankees, and he slaps one foul back out of play. 0-2. Doug Fister getting a call here on opening day. An honor for whomever wears the Old English D here in the Motor City. Gardner, the speedy leadoff man for the Yankees, trying to get it rolling for a Yankees lineup that has been bothered by a ton of injuries. There's a bouncer right back to the mound. Fister stays with it. One gone. Here's the rest of the lineup for the Yankees, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. You saw Brett Gardner. He'll open up in the leadoff slot in center, followed by Robinson Cano and Kevin Youkilis. Travis Hafner, the DH. You've got former Tiger Brennan Bosch, then Eduardo Nunez. In the bottom three is Suzuki, Overbay, and Chris Stewart. Robinson Cano will step in now with one out. Tigers, of course, dispatched the Yankees last year in the American League Championship Series in 4 straight games. Their first meeting in the regular season since that series. And Cano had a marvelous season last year.
Every season. They have a lot of injuries on this Yankees team as we speak. A lot of guys on the disabled list, but with number 24 standing in that batter's box, very dangerous hitter.
1-0 is hammered foul down the left field line.
One of the best left-handed hitters in the game of baseball.
For as good as Cano was last season, and he was awfully good. 33 home runs last year. His numbers the last 3 seasons have been sparkling. He really scuffled in the postseason last year, as did all of the Yankees.
They sure did. Tigers pitching staff had a little bit to say about that as well. A lot was made about the hitters weren't hitting, but the Tigers pitchers were pitching very well at that time.
Cano was 3 for 40 in the postseason last year. And again, the Yankees having to put together a lineup this year with a lot of regulars out of the lineup, including former Tiger Curtis Granderson, Mark Teixeira, Jeter, A-Rod. That's fouled off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. But as Jim Leland said before the game today, they still are the New York Yankees, and you respect them nonetheless.
Joe Girardi is doing a little bit of what we watched the last 3 days in Minnesota with Joe Mauer, a very talented hitter for the Minnesota Twins, batting second. Robinson Cano batting second today. He usually bats third for Joe Girardi, but with all the injuries, Joe trying to get him up in the order as well to allow the other guys behind him to drive him in.
Girardi in his 6th season as the skipper of the New York Yankees. He's won 480 games. 2-2 is a shattered bat roller towards short. Peralta gobbles it up. Cano is out. And there are 2 gone. Tiger starter Doug Fister today, presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
It's early, but it looks like Doug's on top of his game. He's thrown a total of 8 pitches, 6 of which have hit the strike zone. You take a peek at his numbers from a year ago, 10-10 with a 3.45 ERA. Spent a couple of stints on the disabled list, and Doug really, in my opinion, didn't get healthy until the second half of the year, and that's when he pitched his best baseball.
Well, Fister in search of the 1-2-3 inning. Here is former Boston Red Sox infielder Kevin Youkilis, wearing Yankees colors these days. And if you want to play for the Yanks, you got to get rid of the facial hair, which we were used to as a Red Sox can now look at it. A different look for Youkilis. The 0-1 is hammered to center. That's a base hit. A solid single for Youkilis.
Let's take a look at the Tigers' defensive alignment presented by Beaumont Health System. You have Dirks in left, Jackson in center, Hunter, the newcomer, in right. The infield reads Cabrera, Peralta, Infante, and Prince. And Alex Avila is behind the plate, putting down the signals for Doug Fister.
A lot of new faces in the lineup for the Yankees. We mentioned Youkilis, who's at first base. Here's another one, Travis Hafner, who we are used to seeing wearing a Tribe uniform. And Hafner's already homered this season. He is 3 for 10 for the Yankees. And he looks at ball 1.
And one of the reasons the Yankees decided to sign Travis Hafner is the fact that they've got that short porch at Yankee Stadium, and they're hoping with that wide open stance that he has, he can get some fastballs inside and turn on some of those and reach that very short porch at the new Yankee Stadium.
It's awfully inviting, isn't it?
It sure is.
Curtis Granderson took advantage of it after moving to New York. 1 ball and 1 strike on Travis Hafner. They play him to pull on the infield. And Fister backs him out of there. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Fister had to make some mechanical adjustments at the tail end of spring training. He was very erratic. He was walking lots of batters. I talked to Jeff Jones before the game today, and what they did was they wanted him to get balanced over the rubber, which would allow the arm to catch up, and it would allow him to get out in front with that fastball and pull it down in the strike zone where he's most effective.
Bouncing in, Avila able to stop it, and the count goes to 3-1.
As far as mechanical adjustments are concerned, in the year and a half that Fister has worn our uniform, his mechanics are just as good as anybody's. He fields his position well. He holds runners very well, throws lots of ground balls. He works very quickly. He's an ideal starting pitcher.
Seems like the guys that have success are those that can repeat those mechanics over and over and over. And Fister has done just that. 3-1 on Hafner. Just underway on opening day here in the Motor City. And there's a strike called, 3-2. So they'll give Youkilis a head start at first base. He'll be on the move with 2 outs.
Good swing back fastball right at the knees.
And the 3-2. He lost him, ball 4. So after retiring 2 batters, a single and a walk. 2 on now with 2 outs. We're talking about all the injuries that the Yanks have had. They really have been bruised in the Bronx.
And Granderson, Teixeira, Jeter, Alex Rodriguez, not to mention the guys they decided not to bring back last year, Ibanez and Swisher. They've lost a lot of people from a season ago.
Their combined home run totals are more than any other active team's roster this year, which is really amazing. Hey, here's a familiar face, Brendan Bosch. Trying to get something done here with 2 outs, 2 on in the first inning for the Yankees.
Tigers did Brendan a favor during the course of spring training. He struggled. Of course, he struggled last year as well, but they released him with about 2 weeks to go, which allowed him to catch on with another team, and of course that team being the Yankees.
1-0 is off the end of the bat foul. 1 ball and 1 strike.
He didn't have to travel very far.
Nope, down
Lakeland to Tampa, about what, 40 minutes?
That's about it. I-4 to 275 south, and you're right there. He does have good numbers against Doug Fister. Of course, in Fister's days with the Seattle Mariners. 7 for 12 with a homer. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bosch checks his swing again. Avila goes down to block it. 2-1 the count. 2-out single by Euclid, then a walk to Hafner, giving the Yankees an opportunity here in the first inning. Fister last year a 10-game winner with Detroit, an ERA of about 3.5. Two and 1 the count. Missed it. 3 balls, 1 strike. There's the ratio on Fister in his 20 pitches. In fact, he has missed on 7 of his last 10. And so the Yankees find themselves with a scoring opportunity and a good hitter's count here for Brendan Bosch. Right back up the middle off the glove of Fister. It'll roll to Infante, and the Tigers get a break there. That ball was headed right back through the box. Inning over. Yankees stand 2. On inside. Between Hunter and Jackson, 8 hits in that series against Minnesota from the top 2 in their lineup. Torrey 4 out of 14. And Nova misses low. Run the count to 2 balls and no strikes.
Tigers squandered some opportunities in Minnesota in the first 3 games of the year. The middle of their batting order, Miguel and Prince and Victor, hitting about 170 combined in the 3-game series in Minnesota. It will not be that way all year.
No, that's a given. Tigers hit just 200 with men in scoring position in that series. That'll get back out of play. 2 balls and 1 strike as we check out the numbers on Ivan Nova.
He won quite a few games last year, 12 to be exact, but he lost 8. The ERA is over 5, which means he got lots of run support. For the most part, he stayed healthy. Over 170 innings pitched, and the opponents hit 288 against him. That big number, 28 homers given up last year, which tied Ian Kennedy of the Arizona Diamondbacks for the most in baseball.
Well, Nova last year got off to a really good start, was 10-3 in the first half, but his ERA ballooned to over 7 in the second half. And hopefully the Tigers, who typically have performed well against Nova, can continue that trend here today. Runner goes on 2-1, and it's fouled straight back.
Don't know for sure if that was a hit and run. A lot of times Jim will allow a veteran hitter like Torrey Hunter, once he's worked the count into his favor, 2-1, to pick the pitch that he wants to hit. But Jackson was on the move.
Austin had a steal in that series against Minnesota. He swiped 12 last year. We'll see if those numbers will elevate it all this year. And the 2-2. Hunter holding that time, and a ball high. 3-2 on Torrey Hunter. Here's what we were talking about. Ivan Nova has a 9.24 ERA in just 2 starts against the Tigers. But they've gotten to him. Runner goes on 3-2, and it's hit to right field, a base hit. Jackson on his way to third. Torrey Hunter does it again. He shoots the gap to the right side, and the Tigers are in business.
Take a look at the Yankees defense and how they're defending Torrey Hunter here. You see Cano, he's hugging that bag. He knows that Jackson's going to be on the move, and Torrey Hunter picks the right hole with Cano going to the bag. He shoots that hole between first and second, and Allston Jackson dodges the baseball and able to get over to third base. Tigers first and third, nobody out in business with the best hitter in baseball standing at the dish.
Well, we've seen this dynamic a couple of times already this year. Now we'll see if Cabrera can cash in. He's knocked in 4 this season. Wave and a miss, 0-1.
On the field before the game today, the Tigers weren't caught up in all the opening day hoopla. These guys had a very serious look on their face, as they always do, managed under their skipper Jim Lee, and they look like they come ready to play today.
Cabrera 3 out of 13 this season. Well, they have an opportunity early here. Now the 0-1. Ground ball left side, foul.
The other 45,000 people here, well, they came to party.
Tigers came to play, the folks came to party. Career against the Yanks.
Oh, he's a beast. Wears them out, no matter where they play. Remember those 2 homers he hit here last year, straightaway center field against the Yankees?
I do.
Same game.
He might still be flying.
Center field. 2 of them.
Now the 0-2. Bouncing ball left side of the infield. Fielded at third by Euclid. Fires to second one. Relay not in time. A run will score. And Cabrera gets his 5th RBI of the season.
Robinson Cano kind of uses the bag to make sure that Torrey Hunter doesn't take him out violently. And because of that, he doesn't get a whole lot on his throw. And that allows Cabrera to beat the throw from Cano. Although the ball wasn't hit hard, that's not a double play ball.
Here's Prince Fielder now with a man on, a man out. Ball 1 to Prince. Today marks the 347th consecutive game that Prince Fielder has participated in. And so far this year, 2 for 12. Here's the 1-0. Down to block it goes Stewart. 2 balls, no strikes. Tigers dropped 2 out of 3 to Minnesota. The Yankees dropped 2 out of 3 to the Boston Red Sox. And the Tigers utilizing the speed at the top of their lineup early in this one to manufacture a run. Cabrera gets the RBI. Now a nice 2-0 count to Prince. Way inside, gets away from Stewart. That'll move the runner up.
While we have a moment, let's take a look at the new look. The Yankees defensive alignment presented by Tim Hortons. Suzuki, Gardner, Brennan Bosch in the outfield. Euclid, Nunez, Cano, Lyle, Overbay over at first. And Stewart is behind the plate today.
That last play ruled a wild pitch. 3-0 on Prince. There's a strike, 3-1.
That's something that we have talked about on our broadcast on occasion. Only one time last year did Miguel Cabrera and Prince Fielder combined swinging a 3-0 pitch. They just don't like to do it. They have the green light to do so, but neither player likes swinging 3-0.
He's fouled at home plate, 3-2. For whatever reason, most guys that drive in a lot of runs and do a lot of damage just don't like to do it.
Prince hit over 300 for the first time in his major league career. Of course, Cabrera hits over 300 every year.
He got him, strike 3. Prince is caught looking. Nova needed that strikeout.
It's a nice breaking ball there by Nova. Prince gave up on it because it looked like it was going to be high and it looked like it was going to be outside. Nice job of framework there as well by the catcher Stewart, holding it there long enough for the home plate umpire Alan Porter to give him the call. That's just a good pitch and a really nice game of pitch and catch there by the pitcher and catcher.
Well, 2 years ago, this was a situation in which Victor Martinez came through quite a bit. 2-out hits, driving in runs. He has an opportunity here with 2 away. And I would say, Rod, that yesterday's game for Victor, he looked as good as we have seen him in that series. It took a couple of games for him to get going, but he had some good swings yesterday.
His swing was short and quick and compact. It looked like he was thinking about hitting the ball right back through the middle, which he did in his first 3 plate appearances.
Nova's 1-0. Sliced but caught by the third baseman Euclid. Hit it right at him to end the inning. Tigers get a run. We go to the second on opening day. Sends a ground ball foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Nunez has always been a real good player, but of course he's not gotten a lot of reps because the captain, Derek Jeter, has always manned shortstop and usually plays every single day.
Well, Jeter, they thought, was going to be able to come back for tomorrow's game. Of course, he broke his ankle in the ALCS last year against the Tigers, had surgery, and they figured that April 6th, tomorrow, might be the day he would come back, but they have since rescinded that. They don't have a return date yet for Jeter. Right back through the box again. That's the 3rd time it's happened. Doug's throw is in time. Got him by half a step.
He threw Prince a seed. It didn't look like Doug was able to find the baseball right away after he knocks it down. And then once he finally finds it, he threw an absolute dart over to Prince, and Prince barely caught that ball.
It got on him quick.
It sure did.
1 out. Here is Ichiro. Well, that's 3 balls now hit back up the middle. Gardner, Bosch in the first inning, and now Nunez here in the second. Ball 1 to Ichiro. 1 for 9 to start the year now for the Yankees. Ichiro joined the Yanks middle of last year from the Seattle Mariners.
He played much better for them than he did while he was with Seattle in 2012.
He loves hitting here at Comerica Park. In fact, among active players, nobody has a higher average.
It's a huge outfield, and he likes to spread the baseball all around the diamond.
You know, I was looking up his numbers with the Yankees last year. You're absolutely right. I didn't realize he had that good of a second half in New York. Hit .322. And Ichiro every single season is good for at least 150 to 200 hits. Pulls that one on the ground. Diving stop by Prince. Nicely done as Fister covers it first.
We've well documented the fact that Prince has gotten himself in great shape in the offseason and has carried through spring training. He also has a huge glove that he's using these days, and he takes 2-3 steps to the right. He stretches out, he dives, gets up, and gives a very accurate throw to Doug Fister with a very nice stretch by Fister on the other side with Ichiro running down that line. Nice job all the way around.
And as a result, 2 up, 2 down. Here is Lyle Overbay. Ball 1 to Overbay.
That is not an easy play with Suzuki running down the line. Even though Ichiro's a little older now and not as fast as he used to be, that is still a very difficult play.
Yankees today have 6 lefties in the lineup, and last year left-handers hit .270 against Fister.
Any advantage that you could find as a manager, you're going to try to capitalize with it.
Here's the 2-0. Probably one of the reasons Wells is not playing today. He was, of course, acquired late in spring camp.
Vernon off to a good start.
Yeah, he really is.
And he's smiling, too. He looks happy for the first time in a long time.
3-0 pitch is in for a strike. 3-1 on Lyle Overbay. Veteran that's been around for 13 years now, Overbay. Yankees signed him up on March the 26th. Mark Teixeira went down in spring camp, and he'll shoot that one foul. Teixeira hurting his wrist. Don't really know when he will be back, although Teixeira is hoping for the beginning of May, and many thought it would be a lot longer than that, but we'll see. Yankees, it seems, just have to tread water the first month, 2 months of the year.
No one's going to feel sorry for them. That much I can promise you, because when it's all said and done, Brian Cashman, their general manager, with their manager Joe Girardi, they will have a quality baseball team on the field. And it's not that the team that they have out there right now is not quality. And you got a Suzuki, you have a Euclid out there, you have a Gardner in the outfield, a Robinson Cano at second base.
Here's the catcher, Chris Stewart. Pfister has walked 2 in this game now. He walked Hafner in the first, and now Overbay here in the second.
You have to give the Yankees a lot of credit. The Yankees' MO over the years have always been a very patient team. They try to work the pitching counts of the starting pitchers.
He showed bunt. Did he offer? Yes, he sure did. That's Jerry Lane. Yeah, it seems like every time you play the Yankees, settle in for a long afternoon or evening, because they will work the count.
Pfister only 3 of 9 in first pitch strikes first time through the Yankees batting order.
Meanwhile, Stewart finds himself in an 0-2 hole here. And he wouldn't chase.
It's a nice block by Avila. When you call for that breaking ball with a runner on first base and there's 2 strikes on the hitter, you have to anticipate that it's going to be in the dirt. You have to shuffle your body accordingly. You close your legs, you put the glove down, and you make sure the ball does not get between the legs.
Avila has blocked 2 or 3 of those already in this game.
That last one was textbook.
And the 1-2. 2-2 on Chris Stewart.
Where was that? Pfister thought it was strike 3.
Alan Porter disagreed.
Oh, but what did Mr. Foxtracks think?
That's the definitive word. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Doesn't matter. Strike 3. And that's all for the Yankees. Packed house today on opening day in the Motor City. Inside, 2 balls, 2 strikes on Dirks. Andy in that series against Minnesota was 0 for 6. Don Kelly got the start yesterday in the final game in the set. Fouled back. Dirk's healthy this year. He missed a couple of months in last season with an Achilles problem, but the hope is that he'll remain healthy all season long and get a lot of the reps out there in left field. Rolls that one foul again. Dirks last year had really good numbers against Yankees pitching. He hit him at a pretty good clip, 421. Again, the 2-2. And inside and low, 3-2 on Andy Dirks. Waiting on deck, Johnny Peralta.
Love the approach that Andy Dirks has. Usually very short, very quick, very compact. Likes to drive the ball right back up the middle. And I was talking to Andy during the course of spring training, and I said, even when you get yourself in fastball friendly counts, 2-1, 2-0, you don't try to drive the ball out of the ballpark. He says, no, I don't. He says, I stay with the same approach every single swing. I take what they give me, and that's usually hitting it right back through the center of the diamond.
And this time he'll take his walk. So the Tigers get the leadoff man on for the second time of the game. Hey, don't forget to join us again Sunday when the Tigers wrap up their series with the Yankees. Coverage begins at noon with Tigers Live on Fox Sports Detroit. Tigers and Yanks Sunday at noon. Make your plans to be here right here on Fox Sports Detroit.
There is a game tomorrow as well. They are on Big Fox tomorrow. Our big brothers are in town. We'll be back at it on Sunday.
Yeah, I saw Ken Rosenthal, Tim McCarver cruising around the ballpark. There's a ball inside and high. 1-0 on Johnny Peralta. Johnny so far this year 3 out of 11.
Did you see Erin Andrews?
I did. She was in the locker room.
I just want.
Yeah, I figured you'd bring it up.
You didn't mention her.
No, but you did. Here's the 1-0, and there's a ball down low. Joe Buck as well. Will be on hand tomorrow. Two 2-0 the count on Peralta. Leadoff walk to Andy Dirks here in the second. Elevated swing and a miss. 93-mile-an-hour fastball that time from Nova.
That's a situation there where Peralta knew that he was going to get a fastball, 2 balls and no strikes, and he tried to get out in front of it, and the ball was up at that velocity. You're not going to catch up to it, but the count is still 2-1. Count still in Johnny Peralta's favor.
Runner goes. Swing and a miss. Throw down to second. Bouncing in. Safe at second base is Dirks with a steal.
Jim Leland, after watching the huge swing that Peralta took on the 2-0 count, he decided to put the hit and run on 2-1 to see if he could shorten it up. Real nice pitch here. 2-seam variety down and in by Nova. Nothing that Peralta could do. It tied him up, but Dirks got a big enough jump to steal the bag here. And how about the Tigers this season already? First 4 games of the year, they've been rather aggressive on the base paths.
Yeah, I was about to make that point. It's been a different dynamic for this Tigers offense, at least early on. We would expect that to continue. Now the 2-2 outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes, and it's kind of an exciting brand of baseball to watch.
Well, a lot of people just take for granted that the Tigers are a station-to-station club, which they were last year. Jackson stole 12 bags. Quentin Berry stole 20, I believe. But he didn't come up until the middle of May, so they didn't run all that much because they had such sluggers in the middle of the batting order.
Swing and a miss, and Peralta goes down on strikes. Nova has his second strikeout of the game. 1 gone. Bring up Alex Avila. Ivan Nova, 26 years old, a native of the Dominican Republic. And now Avila will try and drive this run in. Alex in the series against Minnesota, 1 for 10. Scheduled to catch 2 games in this series. Brian Pena will catch the other game against the Yanks. Check swing low.
Speaking of the Dominican Republic, I had a chance to congratulate Tony Pena before the game today. He was the manager for the Dominican squad in the World Baseball Classic. They did not lose a game. He did a marvelous job. Tony should get another opportunity to manage at some point in time.
Well, I thought he did a pretty good job in Kansas City when he had that chance.
He was manager of the year there his first year.
Here's the 1-0. 2-0 the count.
Moises Alou was the general manager of that Dominican squad, and boy, did he put together an outstanding bullpen.
They played with a lot of passion and enthusiasm and ended up winning it all.
Well, their manager Tony Pena played with that same kind of passion and enthusiasm throughout his illustrious big league career.
Avila takes high and away. Now it goes 3-0.
It kind of looks like Nova not giving Avila a whole lot to hit with the base open. Possibly playing for the double play ball off the bat of Omar Infante, who stands in the on deck circle.
Avila hit .381 against the Yankees last year.
You've been hollering a lot of big numbers for our boys against this Yankees pitching staff last year.
I'm telling you, they beat him up pretty good. That's drilled down the right field line. It is hooking, and that ball is foul.
We talked about a lot of the other Tigers players that don't like to swing the bat. 3 balls, no strikes. But we watched Avila do it in spring training, and he gets himself a fastball here from Nova, 3-0. And this is what you want to do with it. When your manager gives you the green light, 3 balls and no strikes, you want to make sure you pull that baseball, and that ball landed just foul down the right field line.
3-1 on Avila, who just narrowly missed doubling in a run. Nova has thrown a lot of pitches. In fact, he's gone to 5 3-ball counts already. We're only in the second inning. And a strike. Avila was about ready to discard the bat, but Alan Porter says hold on.
We've already seen Alan Porter call a couple of fastballs at the bottom of the zone. Whether they be for Fister or Nova.
The 3-2. Flared toward left, slicing though.
One thing Nova does have a lot of confidence in is secondary pitches. Lots of confidence with that curveball, lots of confidence with that changeup.
2 years ago, he finished 4th in the Rookie of the Year voting behind Jeremy Hellickson, Mark Trumbo, and Eric Hosmer. And he won 16 games that year and finished 4th.
Won more games than Hellickson.
He did. A foul tip into the glove of Stewart for out number 2.
First 4 pitches were fastballs to Avila. Then he comes back with back-to-back 3-2 breaking balls. The second of which he nicked right into the glove of Stewart. Real nice look there by Foxmo, making its home debut.
And looking sharp. Foxmo, I have a thought is going to get a lot of work this year. That's an outstanding look. Here's Infante. Omar hit safely in all 3 in Minnesota. 4 out of 10 in that series. Nova starts him off up high, 1-0.
Lyle Overbay at first base is playing about 25 feet off the first base line. Omar is not necessarily a dead pull hitter, but boy, are they giving him a lot of room down that first base line.
That'll get away from Stewart, but Dirks will stay planted.
You see Lyle here. You can see all the room down that first base line. You don't see many first basemen playing that far off the bag.
Ever. Here's the 2-0.
It's one of the things that we've noticed over the last number of years, though, with all the scouting reports and all the technology, all the spray charts, defenses moving more so now than they ever have.
More managers, I think, are more willing to look at those scouting reports and do some unconventional things. We've seen some managers take the third baseman, put him into short right field against certain left-handed hitters.
That's right.
There's a ball outside. 3-1. In fact, the Red Sox did that with Will Middlebrooks last night in their game against the Yankees, and it worked. A lot more information available these days, and a lot of managers taking advantage of it. Jackson waiting on deck. Off the end of the bat, foul. Well, the Tigers 0 for 5 today with runners in scoring position, which makes them 5 for 30 on the season now.
286 last year as a club, which was the best in baseball. They'll get better.
How about right here? 3-2 pitch. Drill to center field. It's sinking, base hit. Here comes Dirks rounding third, and he will score standing up. It's a single and an RBI for Infante.
That was a real good fastball by Nova. At 95 miles an hour. 95 miles per hour fastball right down the middle. But look at the concentration of Infante. The head is down, and you called it, partner. How about right now? And he delivers with a solid single right back up the middle. Omar Infante is one of the better fastball hitters in the major leagues. He does not miss four-seam fastballs.
That is his second RBI of the year, his 5th hit already this season. 2-out RBI knocks, as we say, are golden, and that one was as well. 2-0 Detroit. Austin Jackson singled, scored a run in the first. Way inside.
Austin Jackson starts every season with one simple goal in mind. It's not batting average. It's not home runs. It's not triples, which he had a bunch of last year. It is simply to touch home plate 100 times as a leadoff hitter, and he feels like if he's done that, he's done his job.
Well, he did his job last year, scoring 103 times, 5th in the AL, and 3 runs scored in that series against Minnie.
2 of his first 3 years in the show, he has touched home plate 100 or more times.
Here's the 1-1. Inside, 2 balls, 1 strike.
Legendary Lloyd was a little grumpy today. He was. He was. Yeah, he was a little grumpy today.
Did you talk to him?
I did. He wasn't really in a talking mood today. You know, after what happened over there in Minnesota, he was not in the best of moods.
I'm going to make a prediction, Ron. He's going to be in a better mood on more days this year than a bad mood. Now that you mention it, Lloyd was a little quiet on the bus last night. He was thinking about that series.
That whole bus was quiet.
Yeah, it was. Tigers dropping 2 out of 3 against Minnesota, but they come home now for the first time. Nice start to this one. Jack.
4-3. When you have the type of delivery that Doug Fister has, and you take very little time in getting the ball to home plate, even with a speedy runner like Gardner on first base, he has to stay put, and then he makes a quality pitch down and away to a real good hitter to 2-1 count, and they get the 6-4-3 double play turned. It doesn't get any better than that.
There is Kevin Youkilis now with 2 outs. Youkilis a single back in the first, did not score. 8.5 years in a Boston Red Sox uniform. Became a fan favorite there. Last year joined the Chicago White Sox and was really good down the stretch for them.
He gave them a nice shot in the arm when the Boston Red Sox traded him to the White Sox.
And it looked like, for a while at least, that shot in the arm was going to get the White Sox into the playoffs before the Tigers overcame them late. Little chopper back up the middle. Peralta ranging left. Youkilis is out. So are the Yankees. We'll head to the bottom of the 3rd on opening day in Detroit. Tigers on top by a score of 2-0 over the Yankees. Torrey Hunter is leading it off. And Hunter looks at a strike called. 1-1 on Torrey.
Every hit that Torrey Hunter has this year has gone the opposite way. Last couple of years, he has really matured as a hitter, driving the ball to right field with regularity.
Pulls this one just foul. Barely.
Talking about Prince Fielder hitting over 300 for the first time in his major league career. Torrey Hunter did as much last season himself, using foul line to foul line.
Well, he seems genuinely excited to be part of the Tigers organization here. Signing a 2-year deal in the offseason. I guess what's not to be excited about? I mean, he's getting a bird's eye view right now of what it's like to play on opening day here.
Well, Torrey said that when it became apparent to him last year that he was going to hit the free agent market and the Angels would not want him back, the Tigers were the first team on his list. And it just so happened that the Tigers were looking for a right fielder, and Hunter was at the top of their list, which made it a perfect marriage.
Here's the 3-2. Slice to right. Another base hit the other way for Torrey Hunter. So Hunter with a leadoff single, and that'll bring up Miguel Cabrera, who won the Triple Crown last year. And when you look at some Triple Crown history, you got Frank Robinson, who did it in '66. Then you got Yaz in '67. And there was a few years before we saw Cabby do it last year. The last 3 winners, all impressive talents. And the remarkable thing, Rod, is that it was done in back-to-back seasons with Robinson and Yaz.
Absolutely.
And then you had the big void of Triple Crown winners up until Cabrera last year.
It's amazing. A guy of his stature that gets no infield singles and can win back-to-back batting titles. He has done unbelievable work since putting on a Tigers uniform.
Do you think he feels any pressure at all to match the numbers he put up last year?
I don't think he feels any pressure whatsoever.
High fly ball right field. Straight at Bosch, who is familiar with that right field in his days here with the Tigers.
I think by Jim Leland just having the luxury of writing Miguel Cabrera's name in the lineup every single day, he is going to get a .320 batting average. He's going to get 30 or more homers. And it's a given that he's going to drive in 100 again this year. He does that every season.
Well, he's well on his way already, has 5 RBIs.
Every single month during the course of the regular season last year, 20 or more RBIs for Cabrera.
Ball 1 to Prince Fielder. Remarkable consistency. Sooner or later, even for the best hitters, there's that 1 month where they slow down a little bit. Numbers might be a tick off, but not for Miguel. Strike called on Prince. 1-1.
They've got to shift on the infield with Prince Fielder standing in the batter's box. Here you have the shortstop Nunez basically right behind that second base bag, and the second baseman Cano shaded over toward first base. But one thing that we do know about Prince is that he will drive the ball the opposite way. He did it 49 times last year.
On his way to hitting over 300. Drill down the right field line. It's hit deep. Bosch going back to the wall. Leaps. Bangs into the wall and makes the catch.
What a play by Brennan Bosch. As soon as I saw Stewart start to set up inside against Prince Fielder, it was going to be some contact. He set up inside. He's trying to get inside on a fastball. Prince has those very short arms, and he pulls that bat through with a lot of bat speed, and he absolutely drills this ball to right field. And it took a great play by Brennan Bosch, who is very familiar with playing right field in this ballpark, and I'm sure that aided him in making that grab up against the wall.
That might be the best play I've seen him make. Terrific leaping catch, and not only that, but holding on to the baseball. So Prince hits it hard, but has nothing to show for it. And now Martinez with 2 outs. Hunter at first base stole 9 bags last year. Victor is 0 for 1. Lined out to the third baseman his first time up. And Nova hits the outside corner for a strike. 0-1. Nova had a 15-game winning streak from June of 2011 to May of last year before it was finally broken. The second longest such streak in Yankees history. Roger Clemens won 16 straight back in the early 2000s. Inside, snap throw to first. Safe. Hunter just got back.
That's a predetermined play there between Stewart and Lyle Overbank. And they noticed that Hunter was inching his way off that base, trying to get a really good secondary lead, and they tried to pick him off, and they were almost successful.
One ball, one strike on Victor. It was 2 out of 4 yesterday in Minnesota in the series finale there. Bends low, and the count goes to 2-1. Nova's had some success the last 2 years away from Yankee Stadium. 16-6 on the road combined each of the last 2 seasons. But the Tigers have gotten to him for a run in the first, a run here in the second. He's already thrown 67 pitches. And a bender that drops in. Victor didn't like the call. The count 2 balls, 2 strikes on Martinez.
We've already seen Nova do that quite a bit this afternoon, throw a breaking ball in the fastball count. He has extraordinary confidence in that pitch and feels like he can throw it for a strike whenever he wants to.
Hunter draws the throw. Torrey started the inning with a single. He is still standing there with 2 outs. Now the 2-2. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Victor Martinez. Which means Hunter will get a little bit of a jump at first base. We'll be moving on the pitch. That was pretty close.
It sure was.
Certainly close enough to call a strike. But Martinez still has life here in the third. Fly ball, right center field. Gardner going back to the warning track to make the catch in deep right center. Tigers turned away here in the third.
Detroit Tigers, so I just picked them up. I had to have them.
And Robbie, very vintage. I'm digging this. Is this an original?
It is. Old Tiger Stadium Usher jacket. Thanks, Dad.
All right, and your dad's still here enjoying the game. You guys also having a great time. Thanks so much for joining us, and I'm going to keep hunting, see if I can find some more interesting things here, you guys. I'll send it back up to you.
I'm sure you will, Shannon. I would love to have that vintage Usher's jacket that young man was wearing.
It's tight.
Look at that. It's got the old logo.
They're all geared up.
Nice.
Orange beads, the glasses.
That jacket's seen a few games. We're in the 4th inning here at the ballpark today, and that ball is fouled back out of play by Travis Hafner.
I think you'd look good in those pants, too, that Robbie's buddy had on.
I was waiting for you to say that. Those actually would go well with your bow tie this afternoon. Good stuff. Tigers have 2 runs on 4 hits in this game. Yanks no runs, 1 hit. Hafner, Bosch, Nunez for the Yankees here in the 4th, facing Doug Fister. Check swing, soft liner to left, base hit. So Hafner on for the 2nd time. Time now for the AT&T trivia question here this afternoon. Now, what do we have here today? We have, since Comerica Park opened in 2000, which 4 Tigers players have totaled 4 or more RBIs on opening day? 4 have done it since this ballpark opened in 2000. I know 1 for sure.
Who's that? Dimitri?
Ball foul. Okay, now we got to give him 3. They got 3 left to get.
Well, you threw it out there. So.
I didn't ask you to tell him. That was DY's 3-homer day.
Yes.
Bosch the batter. So a little bit of help here on opening day today. So all you need to do is get 3 more now. Bosch takes a ball low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Bosch had himself in a really nice hitter's count the last time up. The count was 3-1. And before he hit one off the end of the bat, Pfister was able to slow it down. And Infante was able to make the play on Bosch. Bosch with good career numbers against Doug Pfister.
2-1. Awfully different seeing Bosch in a Yankees uniform. The Tigers released him on March the 15th, or the 14th rather, and then he was quickly signed by the Yankees on the 15th. Wave and a miss. 2-2.
Good change up there by Pfister. He hasn't thrown many straight changes today, but that was a really good one. And he got to a really nice balanced position over the rubber, and ever so slightly hip turn allows the arm to catch up, and he was able to really pull that change up down in the strike zone.
Low 3-2. Pfister gave up a single and a walk in the first, a walk in the second, hit a batter in the third, but the Yankees have not been able to take advantage of any of those base runners.
Don't know for sure, but I don't think Hafner will be on the move, but they gave him a nice lead.
And he's going. We'll keep him out of a double play. Bosch is out.
Situation right there where they probably would have been better served on the 3-2 count, at least going over to the bag to hold Hafner on. Had they done that, Hafner wouldn't have taken off, and then the Tigers probably would have turned the double play. But with Prince Fielder playing 7 steps behind him, 3-2 count, Joe Girardi turned him loose.
And so now they get a man in scoring position for Eduardo Nunez. Off to a .364 start this season. Nunez tapped back to the mound his first time up. Big bender drops in for a strike. Yankees without their captain, Derek Jeter. Ankle surgery, so Nunez filling in, getting an opportunity to play, and really not only filling in well offensively, but playing well with the glove too. Oh, look out, down he goes, and you can hear that all the way up here. And Nunez is hurting right now. That's the second hit batter for Pfister. Got him in the right forearm, it looked like. Ooh, it sounded like it hit the bat. It was so loud. Well, they're already down Jeter, and now Nunez is hit by the pitch. I'm going to try and help him to his feet, but he is still on the ground.
In a tremendous amount of pain.
Pfister hit Gardner, but that was on the foot back in the third. This one on the arm.
He also hit Gardner with a breaking ball.
Well, he is staggered. Oh, it actually looked like it got him on the chest as well. So we'll get a pinch runner for the Yanks. And they'll have to take him out of the game as Nunez is nailed by the pitch. Nix will pinch run at first base. Now Jim Leland out to talk with the umpiring crew. 2 on for the Yankees and 1 out. Any idea what that conversation could be about?
probably asking whether there was a swing or not by Nunez as he was being hit by that tailing fastball by Doug Fister.
Well, the Yankees now have the tying runs aboard here. They'll bring up Ichiro. Only one out here in the fourth. Tigers lead 2-0. Ichiro looks at a breaking ball outside. His numbers last year, 283, 55 RBIs. His combined numbers, as he shows bunt, 2-0 the count.
He's always been a clutch batter. 323 career batting average with runners in scoring position.
Slap back out of play. 2 balls, 1 strike. Ichiro, Rod, one of those guys that I guess you just don't know how to defend because you just don't know where he's going to put the ball.
Well, he has the uncanny ability to move his feet in the batter's box and literally to be running down the first base line as he's making contact with the baseball. Keeps his head still and sprays the ball all over the ballpark and gets a ton of infield singles.
He's got the ability to turn on a pitch and drive it into the seats and right or just slap it out to left field. And now he's got himself in a 3-1 count.
When it's all said and done, for me, Ichiro Suzuki is going to go to the Hall of Fame. He's played that well since coming from Japan.
Chopper hit towards second base. Infante will throw Ichiro out. Advance the runners. 2 gone. That'll bring up Lyle Overbay. You got Stewart on deck, the right-handed batter. And Fisker struck him out his first time up. Overbay walked in the second inning. We'll see if Fisker tiptoes around Overbay here. With 2 men in scoring position and 2 outs. Swing and a miss. Single hit batter here in the fourth for the Yanks. Fisker so far in this game has struck out just 1, and that's the on deck batter, Stewart. Now time called as Overbay steps out. Overbay last year splitting time in the National League with Arizona and Atlanta. Spent some time in the AL with the Toronto Blue Jays for 5 years. That's another swing and a miss, an uncomfortable looking swing. It's 0-2.
He has thrown 2 pitches to Overbay. Neither would have been called a strike by the home plate umpire Alan Porter, but yet Overbay finds himself down in the count. No balls and 2 strikes.
Fouled away. Overbay also has major league time with Pittsburgh, Milwaukee. We mentioned Arizona, Atlanta last year. The Yankees in need of a first baseman with the injury to Mark Teixeira. Euclid can also play some first base. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Overbay goes down and strands 2 in scoring position. Doug Fister has his second strikeout of the game. Here's history here at Comerica Park. Andy Dirks will lead things off.
There is no other opening day in any other city that is quite like this one here in the Motor City. There are people everywhere.
And it's been like that for a long, long time.
And to be perfectly honest with you, a lot of days that we broadcast games, this ballpark looks just like this. Over 3 million fans last year.
Jason Nix remains in the game, and he'll play short. It's fouled away by Dirks. No word yet on Nunez, their shortstop, who was hit by a pitch. Nix remains in the game to play short.
This much we do know. He was in a lot of pain.
Here's the 1-1. 2 balls, 1 strike on Dirks. Bouncing ball to short. And the newcomer Nix is right there to make the play. 1 gone. We remind you to see the Tigers battle the Blue Jays April 9th through 11th at 1:08 p.m. and take advantage of the Super Spring Special. Upper box seats are half price, only $13. Call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com. Here's Johnny Peralta. He lines one to first, and on a short hop, Overbay with a terrific play.
Had him played perfectly. I like the adjustment there by Peralta. His first time up, he was able to work the count into a really good fastball count, but struck out because the swing was too big. That time he shortened his swing up and made some good solid contact on a fastball.
2 quick outs, which is what Nova needed because his pitch count, 70 pitches through 3 innings, was elevated. Here's Avila. Strikeout victim back in the second. Low, 1 ball, no strikes. RBIs for the Tigers in this game. 1 for Cabrera in the first, the other for Infante, who singled in a run with 2 outs in the second. One ball, 1 strike. Nova last year was 12-8. After winning 16 games as a rookie in 2011. His ERA was much higher as well. Ball high. And we talk about all the guys that are injured on their team. One of the other guys too, Michael Pineda, nobody talks about him anymore. They got him in a deal a couple of years ago. Big right-handed pitcher from Seattle. And he was expected to be a big part of their rotation, but he's been hurt. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Make it 2-2 on Avila. Four Tigers hits in this game. Singles for Jackson and Hunter in the first inning. The RBI hit by Infante and then a single by Torrey Hunter in the third. Strike called and Avila punched out of there. The Tigers will go 1-2-3 and we will go to the 5th. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Bell Tire. Get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire.
Get you caught up with the game summary. In the first inning, the Tigers got on the board first. Austin Jackson with a single. Then Torrey Hunter got him over to third base, and a ground out by Miguel Cabrera. Force out scored the run by Jackson. They were right back at it in the second inning once again. Andy Dirks aboard, steals second, comes home with a 2-out knock. A solid single right back up the middle by the number 9 hitter Omar Infante.
And so we go to the 5th inning now on opening day. Doug Fister back on the hill. The Tigers on top 2-0.
That's something the Tigers have had no problem doing. First 4 games of the year, they have scored first before their opposition, but they really haven't been able to tack on many runs after that.
Well, it'll be Stewart, Gardner, and Cano here in the 5th inning for the Yankees. And Fister delivers a strike 1-1. It's been a little bit surprising, especially when Tigers got off to that 3-0 lead in game 1 against Minnesota. You thought, boy, the offense with 3 early runs is going to be humming in the series, but they were slowed down. Off the end of the bat, 1-2.
And meanwhile, the Minnesota Twins in that 3-game series did most of their scoring very late against the Tigers.
Yeah, they won the game in the 9th inning in game 2 and then broke it open in the 8th inning yesterday. Outside, 2-2 on Stewart.
Fister still not quite right. Even though he hasn't given up any runs in the game, his mix as far as strikes and balls ratio is not Doug Fister like. 74 total pitches, 33 have missed the strike zone. He is usually a lot more efficient than that.
There you have it.
But I guess the only number that matters is those zeros up there in the run column for the Yankees so far.
And so far, Fister has put up 4 of those. 2-2 on Chris Stewart. Right back up the middle again. This one is going to get into center field, a soft single. Leadoff man out for the Yankees now in 3 consecutive innings. There comes the top of the order, Brett Gardner. Gardner hit by a pitch back in the 3rd. Grounded out to start the game.
And Cabrera knows that Gardner has real good speed, therefore likes to bunt for hits. Cabrera in at the cut of the grass, trying to discourage Gardner from trying to bunt.
Bouncing ball back up the middle. This might be 2. Let's see. There's 1. Nope, way too much speed, and good takeout slide down there at second base.
Good aggressive slide there by Stewart. And those of you that are thinking that possibly he went out of his way to take out Peralta, all you have to do as a base runner is to be able to touch the base with some part of your body, and clearly Stewart able to reach back and touch second base with his hand.
Robinson Cano hit into a double play his last time up. Fister has gotten a lot of ground ball outs in this game. 2 of them off the bat of Cano. There's another ground ball, but this one finds a hole into right field. Gardner hits the bag at second, going to third. He's in there standing up, and the Yankees have a threat now here in the 5th.
It's a nice job of hitting here by Cano, getting the hanging breaking ball in with a fielder holding Gardner on. A huge hole on that right side of the infield. And with the speed of Gardner, no problem for him getting to third base. We talked about all the ground balls that Fister has already gotten in the game. That's exactly what he needs right now off the bat of Kevin Youkilis. Good 2-seam fastball at the bottom of the zone or something off speed would get him possibly out in front to get the ground ball to get out of the inning.
Youkilis singled in the 1st inning and hit a ground ball to the shortstop, Peralta. That ended the 3rd. Each team with 4 hits in this game. Here's the 1-0. Ground ball foul. Almost hit Gardner in foul territory.
Sure did. That's why they tell you when you take your walking lead from third base that you stay in foul territory. If the ball does hit you, obviously it's a foul ball. If you're in fair territory, then you're going to be out, and that hitter will be given a base hit.
Breaking ball bends low. 2-1.
You would think that Youkilis would have grounded into more than 10 double plays last year because he's not the fleetest of foot, but that is exactly the number that he hit into double plays last year. Just 10 of those.
It seems low. Way outside, it's going to get by Avila. This will score a run. Gardner comes in standing up, and it's a 2-1 ball game.
That'll be a wild pitch. Avila had no shot at even getting over to try to block the baseball. No shot whatsoever. That's unfortunate.
Wild pitch makes it 2-1.
Tigers already have piled up quite a few wild pitches this season. Albuquerque had a couple yesterday in Minnesota.
Now it's 3-1. And a drive hit toward left center field. That ball is hit well. Jackson on the run, still looking up, and it is gone. A home run. Kevin Youkilis with a long 2-run shot to left center, and the Yankees have the lead.
Yeah, Youkilis got himself in a 3-1 count. He knew he was going to get the fastball, and being the professional hitter that he is, he really didn't try to do a whole lot with it, and he absolutely clobbered it to one of the deepest parts of this ballpark.
And Youkilis entering today's game was 2 for 16 against Pfister. But he's had a couple of hits against him, and now a couple of RBIs. 3-2 Yankees lead. Here's Travis Hafner. And that one is going to get by Avila. Pfister was able to dodge quite a few base runners early for the Yankees. But a wild pitch and a 2-run homer. Drilled down the right field line. That's going to be a foul ball. Tigers have some action in the bullpen, and it looks like left-hander Drew Smiley will begin to throw. 3 runs, 5 hits now for the Yanks. 2 runs, 4 hits for Detroit. It's a Yankees team, even though they're banged up, that won 95 games last year. The Yankees winning the American League East. They were 95-67. Ball low. It was also a Yankees team that had 245 home runs last season, leading all of baseball. Their park can be conducive to the long ball. Fouled away. 2-2 on Travis Hafner. Well, at one time Hafner was a big RBI machine for the Cleveland Indians, but injuries over the years have taken their toll. Last year Hafner was limited to 66 games, had a bad knee, a sore back.
He was hitting 30, driving in 100, and making all-star teams.
Bouncing ball, second base side. Nice hop for Infante. 2 outs. Pfister back to getting another ground ball. That'll bring up Brennan Bosch, who has put the ball on the ground a couple of times, although his first one was hit sharply back to Pfister. It caromed off his glove and rolled to second. Pulled foul. 0-1 on Bosch.
Lots of off-speed pitches this afternoon by Pfister to Bosch. Whether it be that slow breaking ball or whether it be the changeup. Down and away.
The 0-1. Down and away again. 1-1. In the air to center. Jackson cruising over, but it's going to bounce in front of him for a slicing single for Bosch.
That's a nice piece of hitting by Bosch. It was a very good pitch by Pfister. The ball's at the bottom of the zone, but as a hitter, even though you're fooled and your body is out in front as he was, if you stay back with your hands, you can still get enough bat speed coming through the zone to get yourself a base hit, as Bosch did right there. But a really good pitch by Pfister.
That'll be the 6th hit of the game for the Yankees. They've taken a 3-2 lead on the home run by Youkilis. First at bat for Jason Nix.
Yeah, this will be the last inning for Pfister. He is at 93 pitches, and Jim said first time through the pitching rotation, none of his pitchers, none of his starters would go above 100.
One ball, one strike. Jim was asked before the game today for Verlander in his second start, will you go a little bit higher? And Jim said, yeah, probably, maybe 110, 115. As they keep a very close eye on their starters early in the season. Keep in mind, a lot of these guys pitching some extra baseball in the postseason the last 2 years, piling up more innings.
Well, this much we do know about Verlander, as Max will get his first start tomorrow. When it's all said and done, Verlander will probably lead the league in innings pitched once again and pitches thrown.
Two balls and one strike on Jason Nix, who had to take over for Eduardo Nunez, who was hit by a pitch. And he pulls that one right at third. Cabrera with a leaping play. Hit it hard. Yankees take the lead. And you're watching Tigers baseball today, presented by Bell Tire. Back, and that's some pretty nifty artwork right there.
That is sharp.
Very nice. Tigers trying to get the bats going here. They had a 2-0 lead. They now trail 3-2. Ivan Nova back to the hill. And floats one inside to Omar Infante, who singled in a run back in the second. Nova threw just 10 pitches in the last half inning. He's got his pitch count back in order. There's a strike call.
Nova only 6 of 18 in first pitch strikes today, but even though the Tigers have been able to get themselves in some favorable hitting counts, they have not done a lot of damage this afternoon against Nova. We told you last year that Nova, even though he won 12 games, his ERA was over 5, and he gave up 28 home runs, which is the most ever in a season by a Yankee starter.
Up the middle, Nix can't get it off his glove. And so Infante's on again. Now, speaking of April and the D, make sure you visit your life-size Detroit Tigers located in the Jefferson lobby of the Renaissance Center. For more information on April and the D, visit foxsportsdetroit.com and see the life-size bobbleheads of Justin Verlander and Miguel Cabrera at the Renaissance Center. So the Tigers again get the leadoff man on.
A lot of room down at third base for Jackson. Should he attempt to bunt for a base hit, Youkilis is really giving him a lot of room.
He showed bunt, let it go by, though.
It's a great idea. As I was watching Youkilis as the ball came out of Nova's hand, he started to inch his way in a little bit, but that's a part of Jackson's game that he told me in spring training that he has worked on. He'd like to bunt for more base hits this year in certain situations.
2-0 now, Jackson.
Another hitter that Nova has fallen behind, now 6 for 19 in first pitch strikes. And one of the things that Jackson took advantage of in Minnesota and did earlier today is on one of those fastballs thrown by one of those starting pitchers.
3-0. Tigers have also put the leadoff man on in 4 of the first 5 innings against Nova. Hunter waiting on deck. And that's in there. 3-1. Action in the Yankees bullpen. Boone Logan is loosening up. The 3-1 runner goes high, ball 4. The Tigers now have 2 men on. Second walk for Nova.
Torrey Hunter told me that he bunted 9 times for base hits last year. 9 base hit bunts he told me he had last year. And in this situation, runner on first and second, not that he's your typical #2 guy, but they may be entertaining the thought of possibly bunting to get some runners in scoring position for Miguel Cabrera and Prince Fielder.
Meanwhile, Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, is out to the mound to have a talk with the entire infield. Well, Hunter today has 2 singles. That bunt that he laid down in the 5th inning yesterday was what Jim Leland called a good instinct play, even though he was thrown out. A little bit better a bunt would have been a bunt single, but it did move some runners up. Tigers just couldn't capitalize.
The Yankees are not looking for the bunt from Hunter here.
Two on, nobody out. Torrey sends one back up the middle on the ground. Nix tags the bag long, and the relay is a double play. 6-3 twin killing. That'll leave a runner at third with 2 outs. But it brings up Cabrera. Cabrera's #1 fan is here. There's a lot of those #1 fans for Cabrera.
Put me on that list.
Well, Miguel has driven in 5 already this season, including 1 in the 1st on a ground ball. Trying to get a run in here with 2 outs in a 3-2 ball game. Strike 1 on Miguel. Good block there by Stewart. If it gets by, Infante has a chance to score. Cabrera last year won his 4th Silver Slugger Award. Pretty good bet he'll win another one this year. I want to know is where Cabrera's putting all this hardware. Silver Slugger Award, MVP, Triple Crown.
He's starting to get a lot of it. I'm sure his house is big enough that he could dedicate one of his rooms to a lot of the hardware he's gotten over the years.
Here's the 1-2. Checked it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Last year, with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, all Miguel did was hit .420.
He'll foul that one back out of play.
We watch him do that on a nightly basis. With 2 strikes, the pitcher makes a really good pitch. It's a pitch you can't do a whole lot with, but the home plate umpire just might call it a strike, so you somehow have to foul it off.
And Cabrera lives to see another pitch here. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count with Infante at third. Oh, and that hit him. Hit on the left hand, it appeared. Cabrera going to try and shake this one off. Kevin Rand comes out to take a look just to be sure. And it may be sunny here today, but it's still a little crisp, a little chilly. Those are the ones that make you frightened a little bit because there's just no padding in that area. So Cabrera hit by the pitch. That's going to be the end for Ivan Nova. So the Yankees are headed to the bullpen. They want the lefty Boone Logan to come in and take on Prince Fielder in a wall-side windows pitching change. Scores we play here in the 5th inning. Detroit with 2 runners aboard, and with Prince Fielder due up, Yankees want to go to the bullpen. Ivan Nova out of the game, and Boone Logan, the left-hander, will take over now for the Yanks.
Yeah, Boone Logan, Prince Fielder, I should say, is 1 for 5 in his career against Boone Logan with 1 strikeout last year. Logan did much better work against left-handers than he did right-handers.
Boone Logan made 80 appearances last year for the Yankees out of their bullpen. And so now he's going to face Fielder, who hit the ball hard into the wall in right field his last time up. Bosch made a leaping catch. Strike called on Prince.
Left-handers don't bother Prince Fielder. He stands right on top of the plate, takes ownership of that batter's box. He really keeps that front shoulder in there a long time, and a lot of his base hits go the opposite way against lefties because of that.
Drilled high in the air to right field. Bosch going back again to the wall. Looks up. It's off the top of the wall. And gone. They signal home run. Prince got it over the fence this time. And the Tigers have regained the lead.
Talk about lightning quick bat speed. Prince Fielder climbed the ladder. A ball was up around his neck and somehow got on top of it and hit a sizzling line drive out of the ballpark. That ball got out of here in a hurry.
His last 2 at-bats impressive.
He's got some serious bat speed. Look at him climb the ladder. Most left-handed hitters love the ball down, but Prince is one that can climb the ladder and still get to a really good fastball.
What a clutch 2-out knock for Fielder on opening day here in Detroit to make it 5-3 Tigers. Victor Martinez looks at one right at the knees. 0-1.
Take one more look at the swing in slow motion, how he climbs the ladder and levels out the bat with tremendous concentration to hit the ball 390 feet from home plate.
That is the first home run that Yankees pitching has allowed this year. And it was an absolute laser out to right. First long ball of the season for Prince. Swing and a miss. 1-2 now on Victor Martinez. Nova will be charged with 4 of the 5 runs as Fielder goes deep. Ball low. 2-2. Each team with a 3-run 5th. Tigers back up by 2. 2-2 pitch is low. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Joe Girardi goes to the bullpen after Cabrera was hit by the pitch. He brings out the lefty Logan, and it didn't bother Prince at all. And he walked him. So Logan now has given up a homer and a walk, and Andy Dirks will step in. Tigers have had 2 walks, a hit batter, and a homer in this inning. A little bit of everything. Now Dirks looking for his first hit of the season. Walked, stole a base, and scored in the 2nd. Doug Fister with a smile. 1 ball, no strikes on Dirks. Sometimes just flat out scary how hard Prince hits the ball. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss.
One of the things that I was very impressed with watching Prince Fielder in a Tigers uniform all year last year was just how quick his bat is. Most guys that have that kind of power and hit those majestic home runs, they've got slow swings. They've got lots of power, but his bat is very quick.
And how often do you see a guy climb the ladder as high as he did and hit the ball as hard as he did?
Not left-handers. Right-handers, generally speaking, can climb the ladder a little bit better than left-handed batters can, but Prince is one that can get on top of a really good fastball and hit it extremely hard.
Stewart blocks another, and now Logan has fallen behind 3-1. Tigers led 2-0, fell behind 3-2, now up 5-2. There's more activity in the bullpen for the Yankees. Sean Kelly is now warming up. Nova had to leave after hitting Cabrera with a pitch. And a ball, no, a strike. Oh, Dirks. Not so sure about that. He was headed to first base. Three and two. Start the runner Martinez at first base. Popped up. Middle of the infield. To the grass it goes. Cano. That'll end the inning, but it's a big inning for Detroit. Prince with a missile to right. First home run of the season.
You know, the regular fan, we've got 3 generations in this family. You just saw down the whole way. 5 little boys. One of them is at home. And Garrett, why did you guys want the whole family to be here? 3 generations.
Family together and watching the Tigers.
What has been the best part so far? I'm pretty sure I have a good guess.
Yeah, Prince Fielder's home run.
Why do you want to share this with your boys? I mean, this is something that they'll probably remember for the rest of their lives.
Tradition. Yep. It's these are wonderful memories. Being with grandparents and family is something we want to be part of the rest of their lives. So.
All right, Mario and Rod, I'll send it back up to you.
All right, Shannon, thank you. Tradition, that is definitely the word that we hear a lot. This is the 113th opening day in Tigers history. So tradition has been passed down from generation to generation. Drew Smiley will take over now. Tigers have taken the lead as we go to the 6th. And Ichiro looks at a strike. Wall side windows pitching change. The numbers on Smiley last year.
And second time we've seen Drew Smiley this year. He pitched on opening day. And he struggled a little bit. Smiley was outstanding as a rookie, but finds himself pitching out of the bullpen after, for the most part, starting all last season.
Ichiro is 0 for 2 in this game, and he backs out and takes a strike.
Drew's fastball will get up to 93. He cuts the fastball as well at about 89. Got a nice little curveball, which he calls a slider, and a good changeup to go with those other 2 pitches.
Doug Fister done after 5 here this afternoon. He will leave with a 2-run lead. And at this point, the pitcher of record for Detroit. Again, the 1-2. Ichiro entered play today with 2,607 hits. Those are major league hits. Of course, he amassed a lot of them in his 10 years over in Japan. Flared in the air to shallow center field. And Peralta runs it down. 1 out. Back to the studio we go for a game break. Here's Mickey York.
All right, Mario, this game break brought to you by HAP. Josh Hamilton returning to Texas for the first time since leaving for L.A. this summer and promptly strikes out.
Home run for Prince Fielder. Putting the Tigers back ahead. Smiley missing high to Lyle Overbay. Strikeout and a walk. They'll get back out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Smiley was pretty much neck and neck with Rick Porcello during spring training to figure out who would win that spot in the rotation. It eventually obviously went to Porcello, but Smiley had a really good spring. That'll go foul down the first base line. And so it makes it back-to-back springs in which Drew pitched extremely well. You remember he won the competition coming out of camp last year. But as Drew says, all I want is to be on the big league club. Porcello in that rotation, and Smiley pitching out of the pen. ERA of 3.38 this spring. Got him. Strike called. Overbay punched out, 2 away.
So far, Smiley looking a whole lot better today than he looked a couple of days ago in Minnesota. In his defense, it was a very cold afternoon in Minnesota, and apparently he really couldn't field the baseball while he was out there. He got his first major league win against this New York Yankees team in New York last year and pitched an outstanding baseball game against them.
Yes, he did. On, as many call, one of the biggest stages in Major League Baseball, Yankee Stadium.
And that's when they had Jeter, and they had Teixeira, and they had Granderson, they had Swisher, and they had a lot of their big boys. Alex Rodriguez as well.
Stewart, the batter. Single strikeout for Chris Stewart. That Yankee team last year, as we mentioned, led the American League in home runs with 245, and only Texas scored more runs than the Yankees last year. Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the 2-2. Low, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Brett Gardner waiting on deck. And the 3-2. Drilled toward left field. Dirks circling back there. He'll run it down. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Drew Smiley, and they're having fun outside of the ballpark as well.
Let's go Tigers! Let's go Tigers! Let's go Tigers!
Bottom of the 6th inning here at the ballpark. A jam-packed house here on opening day. Mario and Pemba, Rod Allen, we are certainly thrilled to have you with us here today. So far, so good. Tigers gave up 3 runs, but Prince, boy, he came up big with that home run.
Boy, he can climb the ladder and hit that fastball, can he? Jim Lee didn't like to get more innings out of his starting pitchers. However, 3 out of the 4 starts so far this year, starters only 5 innings.
You know, you're talking about Tigers needing to tack on runs after getting a couple of early runs in this one. They did just that, which is a good sign.
Well, they got a great offense. I told you Lloyd McClendon was not in a very good mood today because the offense kind of sputtered in Minnesota, but the weather was cold. We know traditionally this Tigers team kind of gets off to slow starts, but then they kind of perk up. With all these bats that they have, they're going to hit, and they're going to hit a ton.
All right, Tigers will try and add some more runs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And for Detroit, it'll be Johnny Peralta leading it off, and a breaking ball drops in for a strike. New pitcher on for the Yankees. That would be Sean Kelly.
47 games last year, 2 wins, 4 losses. He had 6 holds. The ERA not bad at all. And the strikeouts to walks ratio pretty good. 45 strikeouts, 15 walks.
Skied into shallow right. Bosch coming on. 1 gone. And Peralta now 0 for 3. Well, tomorrow the Tigers battle the Yankees at 4:05. The Tigers receive their American League Championship rings prior to the game, and the first 10,000 fans receive an American League Championship banner. You want to be here. 866-66-TIGER, or check it out online at tigers.com. Game 2 in this series, and they'll wrap it up here on Sunday. Here's Alex Avila. Bender drops in right at the knees. 0-1. Alex has fanned a couple of times in this one, looking for that first hit in this series. 1 for 10 in the series against the Minnesota Twins. Each squad with 6 hits in this game, and each team has also homered. Youkilis has gone deep for the other guys.
There's a drive hit high and hit deep into right field, and you can add Avila's name to the home run list today.
This crowd very much looking for a reason to party, and Prince Fielder and Avila are giving them a reason to do it.
Oh, did he crush that thing?
Didn't he, though?
Oh, my goodness.
He's got a pretty swing from the left side. He gets himself a 4-seam fastball right around the belt buckle. He got the bat head out in front of it and just drilled it into the seats in right field.
Knew it as soon as he hit it. Way up there into the seats in right. They'll give the Tigers a 3-run lead now, 6-3. As Avila goes deep for the first time this year. Check swing by Infante. He went around. Good day for Omar so far. 2 hits, RBI, runs scored. Hitting .500 for the season now. 6 for 12 and a strike called by home plate umpire Alan Porter. 1-2 on Infante. Always got to be easier putting that equipment back on to go back out there after hitting one that far. Here's the 1-2. Got him, strike 3. Porter rings him up. 2 gone. First strikeout for Kelly. Well, it is time for today's Ace Scott's fan poll question of the game. Here it is. What is your favorite experience when coming to a Tigers game? Is it A, the ballpark food, which is outstanding? Is it B, enjoying Tigers baseball in warm weather? C, the downtown atmosphere? Or D, watching your favorite players? To enter your vote, text ACE followed by a space, then the letter answer to 37338. 2 outs now for Jackson. AJ on base 2 more times again today. Single and a walk. He was on base 7 times in the Minnesota series. Pulls that one on the ground and through. Base hit. Boy, you got to love this good start for Jackson this year. We'll bring up Torrey Hunter.
One of the things that I have noticed about Jackson in the 3 years that he has been in a Tigers uniform, when he does decide to run, it's on the first or second pitch, and with 2 outs, not all bad to possibly try to steal a base to get yourself into scoring position to tack on 1 more run.
Hunter is 2 for 3. Kelly throws back.
Joe Girardi, the manager of the New York Yankees, a catcher himself, knowing the situation. We may even see a pitch out here on one of the first 2 pitches.
First pitch in for a strike, 0-1. Getting word on Eduardo Nunez. They took x-rays on the Yankees shortstop after he was hit by a pitch, a bicep bruise. The x-rays were negative, just a bruise.
It's good news.
It sure is. In the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike. Torrey with 2 more hits today now needs just 8 hits to get to the 2,000 plateau. And the way he's going, it won't be long. And the 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1-2. For all that Hunter has accomplished, getting to 2,000 hits would be something, and it really kind of makes you marvel at the guys that get to 3,000 hits.
That's right.
Kelly ready with the 1-2. Instead, back to the bag he goes. Nova started. Boone Logan came on to face Prince Fielder with 2 outs in the 5th inning, and Fielder got him with a home run. Now Kelly gives up a long ball here in the 6th. Jackson getting his uniform dirty down at first base. Low, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Should Hunter reach, Miguel Cabrera would take his swings here in the 6th. Joe Girardi saw his team battle back, but they're behind once again. Hunter goes down swinging to end the inning. However, the Tigers add another run here in the 6th. Long home run from Avila, and I mean long home run. The Tigers now lead 6-3. And Drew Smiley back for his 2nd inning of work. He had a 1-2-3-6. That was against the bottom of the order. Now he'll face the top of the order. Brett Gardner leads it off for New York. He shows bunt and lays one down foul. 0-1.
It's one of the reasons why Miguel Cabrera at third base has really been crowding Gardner all afternoon, because Gardner known to bunt for base hits. And because Cabrera is playing so close, Gardner tried to take that one towards second base. He tried to bunt it in that direction.
Smiley missing high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Gardner playing center field these days, and even if Curtis Granderson wouldn't have gotten hurt very early in spring training, the plan was for Gardner to play some center field. Granderson was moving over to left field.
Again, he drops down a bunt, and again it's fouled, and now it's 1-2. That one may have clipped Avila a little bit.
Well, you knew he would not get through a game without getting nicked up a little bit.
This is true. Smiley trying to finish off Gardner. And he does. See you later. Caught him looking.
How good does Drew Smiley look today? The majority of his pitches he's been very firm with. He's been at the bottom of the zone. That's a real good fastball there that Gardner just watched to go by.
4 straight retired by Smiley. We'll bring up Robinson Cano. Single, double play ball and a ground out. Scored ahead of the Euclid home run. Bernstein Advantage brings you the scouting report on Robinson Cano. Yankees hit 245 homers last year, and only one of their top 10 home run hitters is on the active roster. That'd be Cano. He had 33 of them last year. So for all of the home runs the Yankees hit, the most of them are on the DL, except Cano. That'll hit foul, back out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We're talking about all the home runs that the Yanks hit. Here were their leaders last year.
Well, they're going to have to figure out a different way this year, because a lot of these guys are injured or either playing for other clubs as we speak.
Swisher over with the Indians. Russell Martin went to the National League and the Pirates.
Swing and a miss. Cano goes down.
Drew Smyly getting busy this afternoon. And as poor as he looked a couple of days ago, he is looking exactly like the Drew Smyly that we watched last year, very confident as a rookie. Been able to spot that fastball at 89 to 91 miles an hour, and to make Robinson Cano look like that on the swing, you know you've got some really good stuff today.
Here's Youkilis. Strike one. That'll go foul, no balls, 2 strikes. Drew Smyly came on in the 6th, got a pop-up strikeout flyout, now a couple of punch-outs here in the 7th. And he's ahead of Youkilis 0-2. In the air toward left field, playable. Andy Dirks, and another 1-2-3 inning for Drew Smyly. 6 up, 6 down against the Tigers lefty in front of a huge crowd here this afternoon on opening day. A crowd of 45,051, the largest opening day crowd in the history of Comerica Park. And so Tigers fans not letting us down today. Another terrific job here at the ballpark this afternoon. Ground ball foul, third base side. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, this Sunday the Tigers battle the Yankees at 1:08 p.m. It's kids opening day at the ballpark. All kids 14 and under receive a Miguel Cabrera MVP mini bat. Call 866-66-TIGER. Here's the 1-1. 2-1 on Miguel Cabrera. Batting average may not be all that high right now, but he does have 5 RBIs this season. Here's the 2-1. 3-1 on Cabrera. Again, the largest opening day crowd in Comerica Park history. 45,051 shoehorned into the ballpark today, and many more enjoying the downtown area outside of the ballpark. Another one that bounces in. Cabrera's going to get a walk, and that one caught the home plate umpire Alan Porter. Well, we asked you our AT&T trivia question a little while ago. We had to add a guy because of what has happened here today. Since Comerica Park had opened in 2000, which 5 Tigers have totaled 4 or more RBIs on opening day? And courtesy of a home run here today, you got to add Prince Fielder. Here are the other guys: Cabrera, Higginson, Young, and Simo is on that list.
Here's what Prince did back in the 5th inning against the left-hander Boone Logan. He climbed the ladder and got a fastball and hit a laser out to right field, and Prince knew it was gone once he rounded first base.
Fielder now will saunter to the plate. Tigers looking to add on to the 3-run lead.
Larry Rothschild and Joe Girardi and their head trainer just took a stroll out to the mound to check on Kelly. I don't know if they thought was something wrong with him or not, but apparently he's fine.
Kept shaking his hand, and they wanted to make sure that everything was A-OK. Fielder takes a strike. 1-1 on Prince. Fielder last year hit 3 home runs against the Yankees, hit .333. He's already added to that total here today. Really, the Tigers up and down their lineup had very good numbers against Yankee pitching last season. The 2-1. Swing and a drive. Hit high and hit deep, and forget about it. It's a 2-homer day on opening day. Josh didn't even move in right field. What a day for Prince. That ball's got to be lopsided. It was hit so hard. That's 3 balls today that fielder is absolutely crushed. And 2 of them have left the ballpark.
Prince was absolutely looking for the break from the breaking ball from Kelly, and he got the breaking ball, and he lifted and separated, and we've seen him do this many times, and he has circled the pillows many times in his big league career.
3rd time as a Tiger he's had a multi-homer game, the 25th time in his career.
He saw 3 pitches in that pitch sequence. 1 breaking ball. He took a fastball that was right down the middle, looking for the breaking ball, and Kelly gave it to him on the very next pitch. And that's what great hitters do. When they get the pitch they're looking for, they don't miss it.
3 homers today for the Tigers. Avila has the other one. Now the 2-1. Meanwhile, Martinez takes the ball low, 3-1.
Prince fielder may very well be on his way to winning an MVP this year. Last couple of years he has protected Ryan Braun in Milwaukee, protected Miguel Cabrera last year. This year, with Victor Martinez being healthy, Prince finally has somebody to hit behind him, which is going to allow him to get some really good pitches to hit. And I think we're going to see Prince put up some monster numbers.
Well, he hit 30 with over 100 RBIs last year and hit over 300 without the type of protection that he has this year. We'll see what he can do with it. Bouncing ball, first base side, a foul ball. Tigers have done a good job at working Yankee pitching today. That's the 11th full count we've seen on a Tigers hitter in this game. 8-3 Detroit. They've added 2 more here in the 7th. Back up the middle on the ground. Nix has it. In time for the out.
Let's take a look at our Bell Tire pitch by pitch and how Kelly tried to attack the Prince. He is looking for the breaking ball all the way because he knows he's going to get it. You see him just spitting on those fastballs. He didn't even flinch at the 2 fastballs that he got from Kelly, knowing from the scouting report that he's going to try to backdoor him with another breaking ball. Got it and drilled it.
Andy Dirks takes ball 1.
It is one thing for a hitter to go up there knowing what pitch he might get. It is a whole nother ball game when you do get that pitch and you don't miss it and you have the power to hit it out of the yard.
Well, you were asking for some add-on runs earlier in the game, and something the Tigers were not able to do in Minnesota. Your wish has been granted. That's rolled to first base. Overbeck hits the pitcher covering, 2 gone.
Well, we told you a few innings ago that legendary Lloyd wasn't in a very talkative mood today during the course of batting average because the club just didn't swing the bats all that well in Minnesota.
Chatty tomorrow.
He looks like he's cool today.
Lloyd.
He'll get a good night's sleep tonight.
Two out now for Peralta. Ball 1 inside. Johnny 0 for 3. Flat out his last time up. And the 1-0. Yanked foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. 3-game series with these Yankees. Tigers' last 2 years have opened up with a heavy-duty opponent. They had the Red Sox in here on opening day last year. Here's the 1-1. 2-1. You see the Yankees hanging in the American League East this year?
If they can hold off until they get some of their key components back, I think they're going to be just fine. I don't think they're going to be as bad as a lot of people predict them to be.
Strike call.
Their division has gotten better with Baltimore getting better. Toronto, of course, has gotten a whole lot better with a lot of new faces. The Yankees are the Yankees, and at the end of the day, they will be playing some decent baseball.
Ooh, off his foot.
How about you?
I agree with that. I think that obviously the first month and a half will be critical, but they get Jeter back, they get Granderson back, they get Teixeira back. All of a sudden, they're somewhat back of the team that won 95 games last year. And, you know, they still have CC. Mariano Rivera's back. So I would agree with that, although I will say that East, top to bottom, is really good. 2-2. The count remains on Peralta. You buying into Baltimore at all this year?
I like Buck Showalter a lot as a manager. I just think that wherever he has gone, he has brought a winning attitude. He's a winner. He knows how to get the most out of his players, very well prepared. And as a result of that, his teams perform for him. They're not going to have all those walk-off wins that they had last year, all those extra inning wins, whichever one it was they had. I know Oakland had a lot of
one-run games too,
specialty wins last year, but they're going to have to really play better during the course of the game, not just at the end of the game.
Meanwhile, Peralta continues to battle. 3-2. 3 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th for Detroit to break this one open 8-3. Swing and a miss, and Peralta is out of there to end the inning. But the Tigers adding some more. Prince Fielder deep for the second time here today. Tigers baseball presented by Belter in the Motor City.
A holiday here in Detroit.
And it's been a great afternoon. Drew Smyly will go back to the hill as we head to the 8th inning of the Tigers. On top in this one, 8-3. Travis Hafner will lead it off for the Yankees. 3rd inning of work in this game for Mr. Drew. And so far 6 up, 6 down against Smyly.
Well, what Jim is going to use and the way that he's going to use Smyly this year, at least at the beginning of the season, is when he does get him up and he does get him hot, it's usually going to be in a game where the starter's only gone 5 innings. And because he will not use him in back-to-back days, he will stretch him out as far as he can. In this case, trying to get 3 innings out of him.
And we'll see if he can get those 3. Here's the 1-1. That's in the air. First base side. Prince cruising over, still drifting, and he'll make the catch.
Easy, big fella.
1 out. Hey, before the game today, our ceremonial first pitch. How about this? The great Willie Horton walking out to the mound, getting ready to throw the first pitch to his former teammate in 1968, Jim Price.
Willie got 2 balls.
Boy, that was a great scene. Of course, the Tigers celebrating the 45th anniversary of the '68 World Series team, and this is where they used to play. Tiger Stadium, the site of it at least. And some folks out there enjoying what used to be the site of one of the grand old ballparks in the history of this game. And there's number 23 out there in the wall. Got a statue, got his number out there.
You got to be pretty good to get one of those, don't you?
And you got to be important to the city, and he's been just that. Roll to second base. Easy play for Infante. Bosch is out 2 away. How about Drew Smyly?
Drew Smyly has been outstanding today. Thrown 32 pitches, 24 strikes. Fastball has gotten up to 92, 93 miles an hour. working on the outer edges of home plate against the left-handers and the right-handers, and keeping the ball below the knees.
David Robertson is warming up in the bullpen for the New York Yankees. Jason Nix, the batter, with 2 outs. 8 straight retired by Smiley out of the bullpen. Two and 0 the count. There's a strike. 2-1 on Nix, who had to take over for Nunez. Nunez hit by a pitch earlier today, a bruised bicep. They took x-rays on him. X-rays negative. Here's the 2-1 offering. Swing and a miss. 2-2 on Jason Nix. Two balls, 2 strikes. Here's the 2-2. Got him. Strike 3. Smiley. 9 up, 9 down.
Look out, Drew.
Bottom of the 8th coming up. It's been a prince of a day here at the ballpark today. Fielder with 2 long balls, having some fun.
If you want the best of baseball all season.
Runs through 96 pitches, and Alex Avila has also homered in this game today. We believe indeed, hopefully this year will be the year. And they are hanging out, standing room only here this afternoon. The largest crowd in the opening day history of Comerica Park. New pitcher now is David Robertson.
He's got a good arm. He's got a big arm. 65 games last year, lost a lot of games, but you'll see guys at the back end lose some games when you're pitching the 8th inning. A 2.67 ERA, 81 strikeouts in 60 2/3. He's got a fastball in the mid-90s, and that's exactly what he'll come at you with the majority of the time.
And so to start things off here in the bottom of the 8th, he's going to face his former teammate at Alabama, Alex Avila. It'll be Avila, then Infante, and then the top of the order, Austin Jackson. 8 runs, 9 hits for Detroit today. The offense coming alive. Avila homered in his last at bat. That was in the 6th inning. Swings on the first pitch and sends it in the air to left. Ichiro is under it. 1 gone. MLB.com at bat is the #1 source for live baseball everywhere you go. Available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. At bat delivers Detroit Tigers baseball with live audio pitch tracking, stats, news, highlights, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Tigers.com. Drew Smiley, just one of a handful of Tigers that have to be feeling pretty good today. Infante is another one. He's 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored. Solid 462 out of the gates for Omar. On the ground to third. Deep behind the bag, Euclid. Got him by half a step. Euclid can play him some third base.
Euclid is a good baseball player. He's always played well against the Tigers, whether it was in the Boston Red Sox uniform, the White Sox uniform, or now, of course, wearing that Yankee uniform. Good player. Gamer is one way to describe Kevin Euclid.
Here's Jackson. Popped up. First base side, might have a play, and Overbay comes over for a very quick 1-2-3 inning. Let's go to the 9th. As we go to the top of the 9th inning, big afternoon for Prince Fielder and the Tigers, courtesy of his 2 home runs today, building an 8-3 lead as we head to the top of the 9th. Ichiro will lead it off, and it'll be Smiley back out there. He's faced 9 Yankees hitters and retired all of them. 3 perfect innings for Smiley as Ichiro looks at a ball high. Overbathe and Stewart do as well here in the 9th. And the 1-0. Back to the screen it goes. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Smiley was stretched out to 100 pitches during the course of spring training, and this was the tail end of spring training, so he is not even at 40 right now, so he's got a lot left in his tank.
Outside. 2-1.
Xfinity high-speed pitches this afternoon for Drew Smiley. He has touched 92. And he's gone as low as 73 with one of those really good breaking balls. But really the difference today is Smiley's been able to spot that fastball with really good control. A lot of 4-seamers today from Drew.
And that's in the air. Shallow right field. Hunter coming a long way to get there, and he does. Ichiro is out. 10 straight retired now by Smiley, and we remind you as soon as the game ends, our coverage continues with Tigers Live here from manager Jim Leland and the players, plus we'll break down the game and show you all of the highlights. Tigers Live immediately after the game right here on Fox Sports Detroit.
And Jim Leland throwing Drew Smiley a little bit of a bone this afternoon. If he's able to get 2 more outs, it will be the first career save for Drew Smiley.
Well, he's got 2 outs to get. And the first one is down low. Ben Francisco is hitting for Lyle Overbay. Strike called. 1-1. They get 1 and 2. Signed by the Yankees about a week or 2 into camp. March 11th. That's fouled back out of play.
Initially signed with the Cleveland Indians in the offseason. And once the Indians brought in Swisher, they also brought in Michael Bourne. He didn't feel like he'd get an opportunity to play there. So the Indians gave him his release, and he signed with the Yankees.
Swing and a miss. Boy, oh boy, Smiley has retired 11 straight.
Prince has done a lot of damage offensively today, but Drew Smiley has been the story from a pitching standpoint.
Time now for the Farmers Insurance report card. Prince has done some damage today. One of 3 Tigers with 2 homers, 5 RBIs. Since 1916 in a home opener. T.Y. and Gibby, the other 2. There's a strike called on Stewart. And now 1 strike away for Drew Smiley. What a day this has turned out to be. Record crowd here this afternoon for a home opener, 45,000 plus. The 0-2 to the shortstop Peralta. His throw is in time, and the Tigers win on opening day at home.
Outstanding effort by the Detroit Tigers this afternoon, and what an outing for Drew Smiley.
12 up and 12 down against Drew Smiley, who came out of the bullpen in the 6th. He struck out 5 batters in this game. And more importantly, the Tigers offense wakes up and they win here this afternoon in convincing fashion, courtesy of the long ball. They hit 3 home runs this afternoon. Avila hit one, but the biggest day belonged to Prince Fielder. who hit a couple of them.
And it's our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. He hit a couple of big flies, one in the fifth against the left-hander, a fastball at the top of the zone, and then later in the game he got a right-hander with a breaking ball and hit one a lot further in that same direction.
The Tigers here today, Rod, got a lot of contributions up and down through the lineup. It started with Jackson and Hunter at the top and really all the way through.
Well, Jim Leland made the comment a couple of days ago when he was meeting with the media that his team had been getting some opportunities with runners in scoring position, but they just have not been able to capitalize. He said, I'll take those same opportunities every single day, and trust me, our guys will start to do better, and today they did better.
And of course the Tigers winning here on opening day in front of 45,000 fans, and this is a team that came home after losing 2 out of 3 against the Minnesota Twins, and there was no doubt that was disappointing, but it's good to come back home in front of the home crowd and get it done all the way around.
No question about that. Expectations are high with this Detroit Tigers team in 2013. They're expected to win, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
And that's exactly what they did today. Right now we send it down to Shannon Hogan standing by with the Prince.
Prince, what a day for you. 2 home runs. It looked like every time you got to the plate today, you were looking for a certain pitch and you knew what you wanted to do.
No, not at all. I was just trying to see it and hit it hard.
When those went out of the park, you knew they were going as soon as went off the back, right?
Well, the second one, but the first one, no, you know, I couldn't tell, but yeah, you know, I'm just happy we were able to win the opener.
Was today just a small sampling of what we can expect from the power hitting that we're seeing on this team right now?
I hope so. That would be outstanding. But you know, still got to come out and play hard and see what happens.
How about Drew Smiley? 12 up, 12 down, quite a day for him. What was most impressive about him today for you?
Oh, he was just pounding the strike zone. I mean, with his stuff, if he does that, you know, it's gonna have a, you know, it's gonna be a good year.
Your second opening day in Detroit. It's a great atmosphere here, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, the fans really support us, and feels really good.
Great, thanks so much, Prince. The Tigers winning their opening day here in Detroit. Mario Dorado, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Shannon, thanks very much. A 5 RBI today for the Prince. Tigers performing on opening day here and win it 8-3. Back with a whole lot more. Interest for the wins, Smiley the save, and the Tigers even up their record now at 2 wins and 2 defeats on the season. Really, when you look at the DMC final box score for the Tigers, we mentioned a lot of production at the top, got production in the middle, got production at the bottom as well.
Well, Jackson has gotten off to a really nice start in 2013, continues to set the table for guys like Hunter. The big boys that did the damage today was Prince Fielder, as Victor and Cabrera didn't get loose. And then you have Infante quietly batting 9th, hitting the baseball very well. So this is a very balanced offense and does a very nice job.
Well, Drew Smiley was part of the doings here this afternoon. Drew faced 12 batters, retired all 12 of them, 5 via the strikeout. Back with more from Comerica. Park history, the Tigers beat the Yankees by a score of 8-3. They hit 3 home runs in this contest here this afternoon. Our Gordon Chevrolet upcoming matchup. Well, we want to look at the rest of the series. Big Fox will have the ball game tomorrow, and then we'll have a primo matchup coming up on Sunday.
Well, Phelps will be going up against Scherzer, and of course Scherzer was one of the best strikeout artists in all of baseball last year, finished second to Justin Verlander in the American League. He'll be giving these Yankees a steady dose of fastballs. And of course, on Sunday, you've got Sabathia and Verlander, and every time those two hook up, it's always a really nice game.
And we anticipate that'll be the same thing happening here on Sunday. They unfurl the American League Championship banner before the game today. We'll have more coming up from Comerica.